The Dauntless drifted silently through the outer rim of the Velar cluster, stars streaking past its reinforced viewports, as if the galaxy itself were holding its breath. Captain Leora Vance stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the sensor readouts. Nothing in the galactic archives had prepared humanity, or any species, for what she was about to encounter. "Captain!" Lieutenant Rail's voice broke the quiet hum of the bridge. "I'm picking up a structure, or a ship. Its signature predates the oldest entries in the archives by at least 20 millennia. It's not artificial, at least not in any way we know." Vance's fingers hovered over the console. "Not artificial? Explain." Rail hesitated. "It's alive in a sense. A network of energy patterns, woven like neural pathways across a massive hull. And the symbols. Captain, the symbols are moving. They're forming sentences." The bridge went silent. For a human crew, words appearing in patterns beyond any known language might have triggered panic, but not here. Not with Leora Vance at the helm. She leaned closer to the monitor, tracing the glowing lines with a practiced eye. "Read it out," she ordered. Rail's voice trembled, though he tried to mask it. "The humans, they are underestimated. Their moment approaches. Ignore them at your peril." A lone murmur spread across the bridge. Some crew members laughed nervously, others froze, eyes wide. Vance's mind raced. The Ancient Ones? Legends whispered of them in the oldest human records of space exploration, beings whose memories spanned millennia, whose intelligence had shaped and destroyed civilizations before the rise of the Galactic Council. And now, they had reached out. To humanity. "Sir," said Ensign Kala, her fingers dancing across a holographic console, "I'm detecting Council surveillance ships in nearby orbit. They're not communicating. They're waiting." Vance's jaw tightened. The Council never acted without orders, and their orders were deadly. "Alert the fleet," she said. "Maintain radio silence until further notice. And Rail, keep recording everything. The Ancient One's message, it's not just a warning. It's intelligence. And intelligence is power." The hum of the engines deepened as Dauntless shifted trajectory, approaching the relic ship cautiously. Every instinct screamed caution, but curiosity, the human flaw, or perhaps the human advantage, compelled her forward. The viewports revealed more as they neared, a structure that shimmered like liquid metal, enormous and impossibly intricate, floating silently against the black. Its surface was alive with glowing runes, spiraling, morphing, forming sentences in ways human brains strained to comprehend. It felt ancient. Immortal. Watching. And then, a voice, not mechanical, not alien, but inside her mind, echoed. "They will hunt you forever if you forget. Remember." Vance gripped the railing, pulse pounding. She wasn't afraid. Fear was for those who lacked purpose. Humanity had survived worse than unknown alien powers. They had survived themselves. She straightened, addressing the crew. "Listen up," she said, voice sharp, commanding. "We've stumbled onto something bigger than any council mandate. Something the galaxy thought it could ignore. And we, humans, are the ones left holding the pieces. Prepare for full analysis. This is our advantage. If they want to underestimate us, let them. That's how we win." Rail turned to her, a wry smile flickering. "So, typical human arrogance saves the day again, Captain?" Vance smirked, tension easing slightly. "Not arrogance, Lieutenant. Strategy. And sometimes, survival demands a bit of audacity." Outside, the relic ship pulsed with a rhythm almost like a heartbeat, and the crew felt it, not in sensors, not in logic, but deep in their bones. The galaxy was watching, and for the first time, it seemed the Ancient Ones themselves were curious about humanity. And Leora Vance knew, without a shadow of doubt, that ignoring this warning would be the gravest mistake the Galactic Council, and every species in their reach, could ever make. Because humans, they always remembered. And they never forgave being underestimated. The Dauntless sailed deeper into the void, carrying the spark of humanity into the eye of an approaching storm. The Dauntless cut through the dark void, engines humming like a predator stalking its prey. Captain Leora Vance's eyes scanned the tactical display, 5 Council patrol frigates converging on their position. Their intent was clear: intercept, intimidate, and if possible, annihilate. Captain, Lieutenant Rail said, leaning over the console. The Council ships are heavily armed. We're outgunned by nearly 4-1. Vance didn't flinch. Good. Then they'll underestimate us. She tapped a few holographic controls, sending false sensor signatures into the nearby nebula. Prepare evasive maneuvers. We'll draw them into the asteroid field near Valer Prime. Their size will work against them. The crew moved with practiced precision, each member a cog in a machine that had survived countless drills and simulations. Unlike the Council, who relied on sheer firepower, humans relied on cunning, improvisation, and audacity. Shield modulation at 60%, ordered Vance, and ready the countermeasures. We're going to make this interesting. The Council fleet closed in, their sleek, angular ships cutting through the void like knives. Laser turrets swiveled, scanning the Dauntless for a weak point. Incoming transmission, said Ensign Kala. It's High Consul THRYNN. A holographic projection flickered to life above the command deck. THRYNN's alien features, tall, iridescent skin shifting with every word, projected authority and disdain. Captain Vance, he said, voice cold and sharp. You are trespassing in restricted space. Cease all activity immediately, or face destruction. Humanity is overstepping its bounds. This is your final warning. Vance's lips curled into a half-smile. Final warnings are just the first step in learning, Consul. Let me show you what humans can do. The Council fleet opened fire, and the Dauntless lurched under the first salvo. Energy shields flared, dispersing the impact, but Vance knew this was only the beginning. Now! She shouted. Deploy drones, emit decoy signals, and keep our path through the asteroids. Let them chase shadows. The crew worked as one. Drones darted out like swarms of metallic insects, reflecting sensor signatures and confusing targeting algorithms. Valer Prime's asteroid belt loomed ahead, massive rock formations drifting in precise orbits. Council ships, larger and less maneuverable, struggled to follow. Collisions were narrowly avoided, and Vance's fleet weaved through the treacherous field with uncanny precision. One of the smaller Council frigates miscalculated. It collided with an asteroid, sending a shockwave across the battlefield. Humans cheered briefly, but Vance's focus remained sharp. Keep moving, she commanded. We're not out of this yet. Amid the chaos, a message pinged on Vance's private console, Ancient One's coordinates flashing in a pulsating blue. It was a directive, cryptic but unmistakable: use the chaos. Turn their strength into weakness. Vance's mind raced. The Council had underestimated human adaptability, and she intended to exploit it fully. She rerouted power to the engines, increasing acceleration, while recalibrating the drones to create false formations of their fleet. The Council ships, blinded by deception, focused fire on phantoms. One by one, they began to falter. Small energy bursts from the drones ricocheted into weak points on the alien hulls, causing cascading system failures. Captain, their flagship is faltering! Lieutenant Rail shouted. They didn't expect such unconventional tactics. Vance nodded. Humans don't follow the predictable patterns of war. We improvise. We adapt. And we survive. The flagship shuddered, then veered off course, retreating under heavy fire. The remaining Council ships hesitated, unsure whether to follow or regroup. It was enough. For now. Vance exhaled, tension leaving her shoulders. Set a course away from the asteroid field. Maintain stealth protocols. And send a report to the colonies. They need to know the Council is hunting them, and humans fight back. As the Dauntless slipped into the dark, silent void beyond the belt, the crew allowed themselves a rare moment of relief. Yet the warning from the Ancient Ones lingered in Vance's mind: the moment approaches. Humanity will not be forgotten. Captain, Rail said quietly. They'll be back. Vance's gaze hardened. And when they are, we'll be ready. Always ready. Humans have survived worse than this, and will survive this too. Always. Outside, the stars stretched into lines, the galaxy vast and indifferent. But in that vastness, humanity had carved a space for itself. And with cunning, courage, and relentless determination, the Ancient One's warning was not a prophecy of doom, but a challenge. A challenge humans were ready to meet. The Dauntless floated silently in the shadow of Valor Prime's gas giant, engines idling as sensors scanned the surrounding void. After the skirmish in the asteroid belt, Captain Leora Vance allowed herself a brief moment of reprieve, but the calm was deceptive. "Captain," Lieutenant Rail said, his voice tight. "Sensor logs indicate an anomaly within our crew manifest. Someone's been transmitting data to the Council. Unauthorized communications." Vance's jaw tightened. "You're saying a mole is on board?" Rail nodded. "Yes. We traced it through the ship's subspace relay. It's subtle, but it's deliberate." A cold weight settled in Vance's chest. Betrayal was a human frailty, but it was also a universal one. She turned sharply toward the crew, eyes narrowing. "Lock down all communications and reroute internal logs. Whoever is behind this, we find them before they get us killed." As the crew worked, Ensign Kala approached, trembling slightly. "Captain, the Ancient Ones, they're trying to reach us again. Their projection, it's different this time. More direct." Vance nodded. "Put it through." A ripple of energy spread across the bridge, coalescing into a holographic figure, tall, luminescent, and impossibly elegant. Its eyes, glowing like twin suns, bore into Vance. The Ancient One spoke, voice echoing inside the mind rather than through speakers. "You are at a crossroads. Betrayal festers where trust is blind. Know this, the humans are underestimated, but caution is not weakness. Use your cunning. Trust wisely." The figure dissolved, leaving a pulse of energy across the bridge. Vance exhaled slowly. "They're warning us, and guiding us." Before further reflection could take hold, alarms blared. Council patrols had detected their presence. The traitor had leaked their location. "Shields to full capacity," Vance ordered. "Engage evasive maneuvers. Prepare for attack, and locate the mole." Chaos erupted as the Dauntless wove through the void, dodging laser fire and plasma arcs from the pursuing Council fleet. But the real danger was within. Vance called for a security sweep. Every officer was scanned, every console scrutinized. Then it happened, a subtle flicker in the communications panel, a hidden relay, transmitting encrypted signals. Ensign Tarek, Vance's trusted tactical officer, froze under the scrutiny of the security droid. "Captain," he began, voice faltering. "You!" Vance's gaze was ice. "Why, Tarek?" He dropped his head. I had no choice. The Council offered my family safe passage if I helped. I didn't think it would come to this." Vance's expression softened briefly. Humanity had a way of being compassionate even in betrayal, but she could not waver now. "You endangered everyone here. You endangered humanity. You'll help us fix this, or you won't leave this ship alive." With Tarek reluctantly aiding the crew, Vance devised a daring plan. Using the coordinates the Ancient Ones had provided, she prepared to lead the Dauntless through a decaying subspace corridor, a shortcut invisible to Council sensors. It was dangerous. Even a miscalculation could tear the ship apart. But it was their only chance. As the ship slipped into the corridor, the Ancient One's projection returned, more vivid than before. "Observe, learn, survive. Humanity's resilience is your shield. Adaptation is your weapon. Remember the past, but do not be bound by it." Vance clenched her fists. "We remember. Always." The Dauntless emerged from subspace near an uncharted nebula, safe for the moment. The Council patrols were momentarily lost, giving the humans breathing room. Vance gathered her crew. "Listen up. We survived not because we were strongest, but because we were unpredictable. Because we adapt. And because we refuse to be underestimated. The Ancient Ones warned us for a reason. They believe in humanity, and so do I. Tarek avoided her gaze, guilt heavy on his shoulders, but the rest of the crew felt renewed purpose. The threat of betrayal was a harsh lesson, but one they could survive and learn from. Outside the ship, the stars gleamed cold and distant, but within the Dauntless, the pulse of human courage beat stronger than ever. They had escaped death and deceit alike. And Vance knew that the real test, the confrontation with the Council and the unveiling of humanity's potential, was yet to come. Because the Ancient One's warnings were not simply advice. They were a promise: the galaxy would remember humanity. And when it did, no force, no betrayal, no council decree could stop it. The Dauntless surged through the nebula's swirling clouds, engines straining against gravitational eddies, as the Council fleet regained contact. Captain Leora Vance stood at the helm, eyes blazing with determination. Every system on the ship hummed with readiness. This was the moment humanity would either prove itself, or be crushed. "Captain," Lieutenant Rail said, pointing at the tactical display, "they've deployed their full armada. 37 ships, armed and coordinated. We are outmatched again." Vance's lips curled into a confident, almost feral smile. "Then we make them expect the unexpected. Prepare the Ancient One's coordinates for integration. Let's turn their own arrogance against them." Ensign Kala's fingers flew over the holographic controls. "We can interface with the relics, redirect energy signatures, disrupt their command nodes, even mimic fleet formations. It's risky, but possible." Vance nodded sharply. "Risk is a human specialty. Let's give them a lesson they'll never forget." The Council fleet advanced, its formation tight and relentless. High Consul THRYNN's projection appeared on Vance's main display, eyes glittering with contempt. "You think humans can defy the galaxy? You are insignificant. Surrender, Captain, or be annihilated." Vance's response was calm, lethal in its certainty. "We don't surrender. And insignificance is a poor judgment of history, Consul." The battle erupted. Energy beams scorched the void, and Council ships fired with calculated precision. But Vance's strategy was unlike anything they had faced. The Dauntless deployed shimmering holographic decoys across the nebula, creating phantom fleets. Council fire was drawn to illusions, leaving actual human vessels free to maneuver. With a pulse of energy, the Dauntless interfaced with the Ancient One's relics. Streams of alien technology flowed into human systems, forming a lattice of strategic advantage. Weapons recalibrated, shields strengthened, and sensor systems detected weaknesses in the Council fleet's coordination. "Target the flagship," Vance commanded. "Focus on their command nodes. Hit them where it hurts." The humans struck with precision. Using unconventional tactics, maneuvering through nebula turbulence, collapsing unstable asteroids into Council formations, and employing advanced energy redirection, their fleet created chaos. Council ships collided, systems overloaded, and panic rippled through their ranks. THRYNN's expression twisted from arrogance to disbelief. "Impossible! They are adapting!" "Yes," Vance replied to no one in particular. "Humans adapt. Humans survive. Humans, remember!" The flagship shuddered violently as key systems failed. Its shields dropped, weapons fell silent, and the remaining Council ships hesitated, unsure whether to retreat or advance. Vance pressed the advantage. "Rail now!" Launched the final pulse. A surge of energy, drawn from the Ancient One's network, rippled through the Council fleet. Communications jammed, weapons scrambled, and the Armada descended into disarray. The Council withdrew, abandoning the battlefield, their retreat uncoordinated and humiliated. Silence fell over the nebula. The Dauntless and her crew floated victorious, battered but unbroken. The stars reflected off the ship's hull like silent witnesses to human triumph. Vance turned to her crew. "This is more than survival. We've shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of. We've faced betrayal, overwhelming odds, and ancient warnings, and we prevailed. This is the legacy we will carry." A soft pulse shimmered across the bridge, and once again, the Ancient Ones appeared. Their form radiated approval. The humans endure. They adapt. The galaxy will remember. You have honored the warning, and humanity's path continues. Vance's gaze hardened. Then let them remember. Let them all remember. Humanity will never be underestimated again. Outside, the nebula swirled peacefully, masking the scars of battle. Within the Dauntless, humanity had carved its mark. The crew allowed themselves brief smiles and quiet laughter, exhaustion mingling with exhilaration. Somewhere, in the vast stretches of the galaxy, the Council would rethink their arrogance. Some species might hesitate before challenging humanity again. And the Ancient Ones, silent observers of eons, had placed their faith in the species that had once been considered insignificant. Captain Vance looked at her crew, and then out at the endless void. The stars seemed to shine brighter, as if the galaxy itself acknowledged a new power rising. Humanity had survived. Humanity had triumphed. And the story of their defiance, courage, and relentless ingenuity would echo across the stars for generations to come.